morning. It's Friday morning. We're in Arizona. The alternator got replaced last night. Worked flawlessly. We drove about an hour and a half and then pulled into a truck stop to get some sleep. So we didn't make any kind of mileage at all yesterday. When we got to the gas station here, we didn't fill up last night, but I pulled under the lights to take a look. And our fix didn't fix. So it's still all hosed with oil. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take this line here, put it on the PCV, I think. Just disconnect this and be done with it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we're just going to keep adding oil and smoking on. The way a PCV system is supposed to work, it's got a little one-way valve. It sucks out of one valve cover into the carb. So the carb sucks the air out of the valve cover. The air goes across, the flow of the air goes across the engine to the other valve cover, and there is an intake for it. It goes to the base of the air cleaner. So the air is supposed to go from the air cleaner into the valve cover, across the top of the engine, out the other valve cover, and into the bottom of the carburetor, into the cylinders, gets combusted and blows out the back. For whatever reason, that's not happening. And it's not happening in spectacular fashion. So I'm going to try making that last fix, and if not, oh well. It's Friday morning. We have to get back home to Atlanta on Sunday, so Boy Wonder here can get to work on Monday morning. So we're just going to make the best of it. All right, well, we got our latest fix on the way. So what I ended up doing is, this is the PCV port that goes into the base of the carburetor that's supposed to suck the air into the carburetor. And it's supposed to be over here. I ended up putting it into this one, our trouble valve cover. I wrapped that in black plastic tape. So hopefully there will be enough here. Oh, that'd be my luck. It's stuck. So hopefully there's going to be enough suction that it'll suck all that blow-by into the engine. That's the theory anyway. We'll put that on there just to keep stuff out. That was Andrew's idea. That was a good idea. And then on this side, we tipped this breather on its side, wrapped it in black plastic tape as well, and put a short length of hose on it just to act as sort of a road draft tube. If that actually works, I don't know if it's going to be an intake or exit at this point. That's the best we can do. In Kingman, Arizona, I don't know what time it is. It's probably 9:30. And our last ditch fix didn't work. So, screw it. Just keep adding oil and smoking on home. About all we can do right now. And I can't figure out for the life of me why none of these fixes have worked. But, yeah, it's just puking. Seligman, Arizona, on historic Route 66. Made it here, stopped for gas. Oil issue is still an oil issue. It's probably going to be for the rest of the trip. Well, it is going to be for the rest of the trip. I topped it off. I added a couple quarts of Deltro, I don't know. It's like the Chevron version of Rotella. Stopped and had lunch. A&W makes a really good cheeseburger. I think there should be more of those across the country. The truck is doing really well other than that. I sneaked it up to 70 miles an hour at one point because I wasn't paying attention and I didn't realize I was going that fast, which was really nice. It handles very well at speed, even without front shocks, or one front shock and the other one wasted. Was able to cruise at between 60 and 65 effortlessly. Didn't even think about it. As far as that goes, I would like a shout out to the governor of Arizona. You should be ashamed of your roads and completely embarrassed. I have driven on roads in 48 states and 5 Canadian provinces, and I grew up driving on Michigan roads where they road tested M1's Abrams tanks and failed them. And I-40 is worse than that. We hit some potholes and Remy's riding on the front seat between Andrew and I. Kimber came flying up from the back and crawled in, and there was no stopping her from crawling up by us. She was so freaked out by it. So do better. As for the rest, we're going to take Route 66 for a little while, and yeah, everything's going really well. I stopped at a general store across the street here and bought some rubber gloves so that when I lift the hood, it's not a huge cleanup mess for the next 10 minutes getting the oil off of me. That's about it. We'll check in later. And that is what it looks like right before a speedometer dies. I was frankly surprised that it was still working at all, but yeah, it's probably going to explode now. About a dozen years ago, I bought a 73 Duster from David Freiberger. Flew out to California, got in the car, drove it back from LA to Georgia, much of it along Route 66 until Oklahoma City. And that trip went a lot like this one. Actually, knock on wood, worse than this one's going. Ran out of gas in the desert, popped the head gasket in the desert, heater core exploded, radiator hose had to get duct taped back together. I got back on the road one time with a soda can and a piece of wire that I found in an empty parking lot at an abandoned motel. Another time I got back on the road using the nail clipper file on my points, actually on the rotor on the distributor, and it was just a trip. And I loved the trip. It was absolutely fantastic. The one thing that I didn't take the time to do when I went through Winslow, Arizona, I didn't stop and stand on a corner. And I have regretted that ever since. And I promised myself that one day I was going to come back and stand on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. You good? You too? It's 12:30 at night on, I think, Friday, and we are in Casablanca, New Mexico, which, if I'm not mistaken, translates to House of Blankets. The truck is doing pretty well. No new problems. The pothole situation in Arizona has scared Kimber so bad that she now sprints through the pass-through into the front seat, even if there's no room for her, which has become a bit of an issue. So that kind of sucks. The oil problem is still a problem. Some guys told me that they probably think it's rings. I tend to probably agree with that. I dumped a bottle of Marvel Mystery Oil into it to see if it would loosen them up. Doesn't seem to have done any good. The valve cover worked its way loose a little bit, so I put another full round in each bolt to snug them down just now. But the last two stops, it went through 4 quarts of oil per gas fill up. So it's actually costing almost more to fill up the oil pan than it is to fill up the gas tank, depending on which state I'm in. I found out that Shell Rotella varies from $23 for a 5-quart jug to $42 for a 5-quart jug. So that's where we're at with that. We're about, hey Andrew, how far are we from home?
About 1,400 miles.
Okay, so we're about 1,400 miles, which means we've got to put about 700 miles on per day for the next 2 days to get him home in time for work on Monday. The gas gauge works, which is great. The heater works, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got a tape deck in the radio that works, so compared to the other adventures we've had getting old cars, that's amazing.
We still have to check turn signals.
Yeah, we kind of have turn signals. They've popped on and off a couple of times when I've hit the lever out of habit, but there's no consistency to them, and I don't know if they're showing up out in the back or in the front or not. So we got that going for us, and that's about it. So we're going to go to sleep here at this truck stop and then get up tomorrow morning and put more miles down. We stopped in Two Guns, Arizona, which is a dead tourist trap. Go ahead and look that up. It's an interesting story. We stopped at Crater. We stopped at the Meteor Crater in Arizona and made a little detour for that. And then stopped and stood on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. So that's it. It's been a good day.